Alright, so tonight we're doing another Halloween story. This one is an Alice in Wonderland. One is called Happy Halloween. The crisp fall air made Alice shiver as she walked through the apple orchard. All around her, people were picking apples for All Hallows Eve festival that night. Alice quite enjoyed the festival. People bobbed for apples. They told spooky stories about spirits, and they carved faces in turnips to scare spirits away. Turnips. Alice was thinking about scary spirits when she heard someone yell, "Woohoo!" The sound came from inside the trunk of the hollow apple tree. "Hello," Alice called into the tree. "Is somebody there?" "Hey, dee-hoo," the voice hollered. Curious, Alice stepped inside the tree. Soon she found herself falling down, down, down. Alice looked in the dark passageway. Pushing open a door, she found herself in Wonderland. In front of her were the Mad Hatter, the March Hare. They were sitting at their tea table and yelling each other. "Hoo-dee-hoo-hoo," cried the Mad Hatter. "Wee ha ha ha," shouted the March Hare. "My goodness, you both yelling quite loudly," Alice exclaimed. "Whatever is the matter?" "Why, there's nothing the matter," answered the Mad Hatter. "In fact, everything is quite wonderful. It's Halloween." "Don't you mean Halloween Eve?" Alice asked. "I do not," the Mad Hatter replied. "Tonight is Halloween. It's the night when everyone hollers at each other like this." He turned into the March Hare and hollered loudly, "Ho-dee-ho." "How-dee-ho, how?" the March Hare hollered back. Then he looked at Alice. "It's your turn," he said. "Oh, heavens, no," Alice replied. "My governess says the child must never holler." "But it's Halloween," the Mad Hatter said. "Hollering is tradition. You must." "Oh, I suppose if it's tradition," Alice said. She clenched her throat. "Ho-dee-ho," she said, unsure of herself. "If you're going to holler, you've got to be louder than that," the Mad Hatter said. Alice took a deep breath. "Ho!" she cried. "Not bad," the Mad Hatter said. "But it needs to be more pizzazz," Alice sighed. "I'm afraid I'm just not any good at hollering. Are there any other Halloween traditions?" "Sure," the Mad Hatter replied. "We bob for ice cream." "Ice cream?" Alice asked. "But you're supposed to bob for apples." "Well, that's silly," the Mad Hatter said. "Who wants to catch an apple?" The March Hare nodded and scooped a ball of ice cream into a large bowl of water on the table. Then he stuck his face in it. When he came up for air, his whiskers were wet, and there was an ice cream on the tip of his nose. Does that look like fun? The Mad Hatter asked Alice. It looks quite messy, she replied. Are there any other traditions? Well, yes, the Mad Hatter answered. We carve teacups. We carve turnips. The March Hare looked confused. No, I'm sure it was tea cakes. The Mad Hatter picked up a tea cake and used a spoon to carve a silly face in it. What are you supposed to do with that? Alice asked. Why, you eat it, of course. The March Hare. He took the tea cake from the Mad Hatter and popped it in his mouth. The Mad Hatter clapped his hands. And now it's time to tell toast stories, he announced. Toast stories, Alice said. The March Hare nodded and lifted his lid to his teapot. The Dormouse popped out. In a small, squeaky voice, he began to recite. Hey, doodly-doo, doodly-doodly, I like eating noodles and porridge and pudding and ham, but if I have none, there's nothing as fun as a fine piece of toast and some jam. When the Dormouse finished, the Mad Hatter and the March Hare cheered. Alice clapped politely. That was a very good poem, but it was not a proper story at all, she said. In fact, you're not doing anything proper. It's not how you celebrate All Hallows Eve. The Mad Hatter shook his head. We told you it's holler ween. We have never heard of holler ween. Alice said, where I come from, it's All Hallows Eve. And we do not tell toast stories. We tell stories about ghosts. Ghosts, stammered the Mad Hatter. You mean like spirits, specters, phantoms? Yes, Alice. Ghosts with spooky glowing eyes that appear out of midair? The March Hare asked. Exactly, Alice replied. You mean like the ghost over there, the Mad Hatter pointed. Alice turned around to see two yellow eyes floating in the air. Beneath them was a round mouth, open mouth. Boo! Good heavens, Alice cried, frightened, and jumped backwards. The Dormouse jumped back into the teapot. The Mad Hatter and the March Hare ducked under the tea table. Alice's heart pounded quickly as the yellow eyes floated closer to her. Suddenly, she realized something. These eyes look familiar, she said. Is that you, Cheshire Cat? A purple striped body appeared around the eyes and mouth. Yes, it's me, he said. Just having a bit of fun. Toodle-hoo. Happy All Hallows Eve. Cheshire Cat disappeared and the Mad Hatter and the March Hare climbed out from under the table. That's what happens on All Hallows Eve. I'll stick with Holler's ween. Thank you, the Mad Hatter said. Alice is still trembling from the Cheshire Cat's trick. I believe I agree with you. Happy Halloween. Ho, dee ho, hollered the March Hare. And that was tonight's story.